Welcome back to the YS channel, and today I'm hoping I got the attention of some of the Hannibal Lecter fans out there, as we're going to be discussing 1986's Manhunter, the movie. For those of you unaware, before Silence of the Lambs, Red Dragon, Hannibal, there was a movie released that's based on Hannibal Lecter, and then on the novels, and again, based on the novels by Thomas Harris. So Manhunter is based on Red Dragon. Again, the prequel to the Silence of the Lambs that I think most of us are familiar with. However, this movie has no connection to all the subsequent Hannibal Lecter movies and TV shows. With that said, the great Hannibal Lecter is played by Brian Cox, and he gives a pretty fucking commanding and, convincing performance as Hannibal Lecter. And then, of course, you got Will Graham, who's portrayed by William Petersen. And then Francis Dollarhide, aka the Tooth Fairy, who is the main villain of this movie, is played by Tom Noonan. And then you have other supporting characters like Jack Crawford. You get the fucking warden. And then you got Stephen Langs as Freddie Lowndes, who's like that tabloid publicist, journalist, whatever the fuck it's called. When you watch Red Dragon, the character is played by Philip Seymour Hoffman. It's the same character. So anyhow, and this movie is actually considered a more faithful adaptation of Red Dragon than the actual Red Dragon movie. So, one of the things about this movie that stands out, it does have like a, by today's standards, a dated soundtrack and kind of like art direction. But again, don't let that take away from how good of a movie this really is. It is still suspenseful. It's well acted. So like I say, it's a really well made movie. It's unfortunate it's flown under the radar for so long, and then it did become eclipsed or overshadowed by the Hannibal Lecter franchise that I would like to just say it was rebooted, starting with the Silence of the Lambs movie. This movie, believe it or not, has had a significant influence on film and television since its release. So, while the Red Dragon movie, which stars Edward Norton and Sir Anthony Hopkins, does kind of play around with detective work, forensic science, and all that stuff, this movie really drives into these concepts. There's actually a really specific focus on the use of forensic science and how it's used in criminal investigations, and that's actually the key feature of this movie. And it was so significant and well done in this movie. A lot of TV shows that have followed they use this movie as an influence. Most specifically, the CSI crime series that I think a lot of us are familiar with. Very, influenced by this. And a lot of the thematics and another, just, I don't want to say the atmosphere of the movie, but I guess that's the best way to say it. A lot of movies or TV shows like The X-Files, movies like Copycat, The Bone Collector, Seven. They've all taken influence and inspiration from this movie. So it is a very influential movie. And this is definitely, how would you say, a cult classic, a cult movie. And reason being, again, it was a box office failure when it was released, which is really unfortunate. Again, this is a really good movie. I think if it had gotten more attention, it probably would have been put up for numerous Golden Globe and Oscar nominations. Because it's pretty damn good. When I first came across this movie, I was like, do I really want to give this a shot? Because I like the way the 1990s, early 2000s Hannibal movies were done. And when I heard about this one, I was like, But then I sat there, give it a try. And I was like, fuck, this is really good. You know, I mean, again, you might have your preferences with actors and stuff, right? I mean, there's no denying that Anthony Hopkins is the definitive Hannibal Lecter, all right? There's no getting around that one. Again, Brian Cox does a damn good job, but Anthony Hopkins is just up there as fucking next level. But with that said, you know, this movie, the plot overall is very similar. Again, it is an adaptation of the Red Dragon novel. So if you've seen the Red Dragon movie, you know, the plots are similar. I mean, some things are changed around, some things are cut out, you know, between different versions, right? But at the end of the movie, there's a confrontation with Will Graham, the Tooth Fairy. He kills him, you know, and then into the movie, right? But again, it's all the stuff between when we were first introduced to Will Graham and then his final confrontation with the Tooth Fairy. You know, that's the stuff that drives the suspense and everything. The Hannibal Lecter character, you know, he's not, even in this one, he's not really on screen a whole lot. But he's an overarching presence, as he should be, right? You know, he's kind of like the plot device that gets things moving. And that's why, you know, again, that's why, like, the character, when portrayed right, you know, it's very influential, you know, very well-known character in pop culture circles. With that said, you know, why don't you add some context in the comments below, or just add your thoughts and opinions about this in the comment section below. I want to hear y'all's take and opinions of this movie. You know, it is kind of, as far as fans of the franchise, it's not polarizing. I guess the only thing you can say that is polarizing is whether you like the certain actors in certain roles better than others. But other than that, you know, again, just add your comments and opinions in the comment section below. And then just tune in again for our next movie review. Till the next time, thank you. Later. Bye.